Welcome, students of Form 2, from 2A to B. Welcome to this video that is about tourism in the global village. We talked about that a lot. And this video is a part 3 of 3 videos about the global factors influencing tourism. So what are the global factors influencing tourism from the whole world? So global factors. And the learning outcomes of this paragraph are as follows. In this section, you will learn to outline global factors that affect the tourist industry in our Caribbean region. So outline global factors that affect the tourist industry in the region. So we'll talk about this all in this video. Well, not actually all of it, but in these 3 videos, I will have talked about all of these things, the global factors that affect the tourist industry in a region. And when you study this paragraph, please keep the learning outcome in the back of your mind so you'll know what you're actually doing and why you're doing it. And this helps a lot. So we've seen in the past videos that a erupting volcano, like in Iceland, some 14 years ago. Yes, during that day, the airline estimated, so más o menos, it might be even more, that because of the eruption of this volcano in Iceland and all the ashes that threw up into the atmosphere and the airplanes could not fly, the US, the global airline industry, I wanted to say the US, lost $205 million a day. So for weeks, the airplanes couldn't fly, they couldn't go up. A lot of companies and entrepreneurs worldwide lost money, and in total, they were losing $205 million a day. So when the tourism cannot function, when airplanes cannot fly, when tourists cannot reach their destination, a lot of people lose a lot of money. Yeah? And when they cannot travel to their destination, they cannot spend their disposable income. And this is the money left from their purse after all taxes have been paid, but also after you've done your groceries, after you've paid your bills. This is your disposable income. And if you have a high disposable income, you can spend it more in tourism. Yeah? And a worldwide recession means people have less disposable income. Yeah? So when a worldwide recession happens, like you see here, worldwide recession, oh no. Yeah, this has a lot of impact on businesses and financial institutions. Yeah? And it's difficult more during those times to secure financial investment or loans in order to expand your facility. So during a worldwide recession, businesses and financial institutions are less likely to stop to grow. And of course, this also impacts tourism because tourism wants to build hotels, wants to buy cars to show tourists around, wants to invest in new ways of entertaining people on the islands. So worldwide recession has a lot of impact on tourism, just like natural disasters also have. So we've talked about disposable income, worldwide recession, natural disasters, an erupting volcano. We all see these can impact tourism to a large extent. We also see that terrorist attacks like those on the 11th of September 2001 have impacted tourism worldwide, but also in the Caribbean to a large extent. It created large lines, large queues. And these large queues, yeah, put some people off of the idea of traveling by air. So people have a thought of, no, I don't want to travel by air because I have to stand in line for a long period of time, and I have to wait for the security checks and all those fuss and all that stress. I don't want to do that. So it puts some people, not all people of course, but it's put some people off of the idea of traveling by air because these long queues, these long lines, like you can see them over here, and you can see them also over there more, because these people have to wait for the security checks. And some people, they don't like these security checks and those long lines and long queues, and that's why they are being put off of traveling by air. Also, the tourism industry always has to adapt to new circumstances. So things change, constante cambia, and the tourist industry always has to adapt. For instance, we now have ecotourism, and these also has to be competitively priced. So they shouldn't be too expensive, else people won't come here and take part in ecotourism. So they have to adapt new kinds of tourism, but they also have to be not too expensive because else people will not come. And the core of this is, the core meaning of all of this that I've just told is there's continuously ajustation, ajustation continuo. Continuously, the tourist industry always has to adapt to new circumstances. Ajustation continuo. Continuously, it has to adapt to new circumstances. If there is a natural disaster, if there has been a terrorist attack, if there are new forms of tourism, if there is an economic recession or an economical crisis, tourism cannot stay the same. It has to adapt continuously. Ajustación continuo. So the tourist industry always has to adapt to new circumstances, to new things happening, to negative things like a natural disaster or a terrorist attack or economic recession, to economic changes like ecotourism that also has to be competitively priced. Ajustación continuo, the tourist industry always has to adapt to new circumstances, like you can see over there. And that's the conclusion. That's like the bottom line of everything that I've shown just now. What you also see is that sometimes in some countries there are travel advisories and visa restrictions. For instance, now Venezuela has Maduro that has been there for a long time. The Assad in Syria has been fleeing his country, and there's a new government there. Haiti, there are gang wars there. There's a lot of disruption and a lot of violence there. Lebanon, Israel, the Middle East, a war between Ukraine and Russia. The bottom line is, the conclusion is, there's a lot of things going on in the world, in the Caribbean, in South and North America, in Eastern Europe, in Middle East. Yeah. In all of the countries of the world, there are a lot of things going on, and some countries are safe, and some countries you might have to be careful when traveling there. And this has to do with our topic right now of travel advisories and visa restrictions. Travel advisories and visa restrictions. Let's talk about those. Countries occasionally, from time to time, issue travel advisories and travel restrictions to their citizens. These are issued when there are long-lasting conditions in a country that make it unstable or dangerous, peligroso, peliger, for example, because of a breakdown in law and order, the likelihood of a natural disaster, or the outbreak of a deadly disease. So un quiebro de ley y ordu, when there are gangs, when you're more likely to be attacked by a criminal, when there's a civil war going on, like it just told in Syria, or where there are a lot of gangs, like in Haiti right now, where there's a war going on, like between Russia and Ukraine, there's likely to be a breakdown in law and order, or den papimento un quiebro den lei y ordu. If you have a better expression for that, please let me know below. And when this is going on, you might not want to go visit that country because it's unsafe. You're more likely to be robbed. You're more likely to be held hostage. You're more likely to get wounded. So your government, where you come from, like the Dutch government or the Venezuelan government or the United States government, gives an advice for traveling to that country. Because there's a quiebro de ley y ordu, there's a breakdown in law and order, or there's a likelihood of a natural disaster, or the outbreak of a deadly disease, or a deadly illness, let's just say. The advisories are intended, like you can see here. You have a reisadvies, yeah, a travel advice, and you go to the internet page of the Dutch government and you type in reisadvies, vul uw land of gebied in, type in your nation or area where you want to travel to, you type in Haiti and you get there's a lot of violence and war and violence going on in Haiti. The government has called in the emergency situation, emergency law. The color code of Haiti is red. Don't travel there. It's too dangerous. Yeah. So the travel advice is red. It's too dangerous there. Embassy cannot help you there if you get into a problem. Yeah. So this is the travel advisory, for instance, for Haiti. And I've typed in other words too. For instance, when you type in Lebanon, you see there it's insecure. It's red, the travel advice. Don't travel there, it's too dangerous. We cannot help you there, probably if you get into trouble. Yeah. And the third I filled in is Venezuela. What did I get? The color code orange. So you have different color codes dependent on what area you travel. Orange is in Caracas. Isla Margarita, large parts of the middle and southeast of Venezuela. But red, you see there for most of the areas in its borders and big areas of the Northwest. We have protests and demonstrations since the elections in July 2024. So you see, yeah, often they say avoid traveling there. Yeah, they say to avoid traveling there. Pa evitar de viajar allá. So they avoid traveling there is not a good idea. Yeah, so that's what they often say in their traveling advice. Don't go there. Ga niet heen. Not erbij. Pa evitar de viajar allá. And these are all kinds of traveling advices. Reisadviezen in Dutch. Yeah? So your governments can ask you to avoid, can advise you strongly to avoid traveling there. The warnings are also issued when it's considered that it will be difficult for the home country to offer assistance, assistencia, because, for example, an embassy offers assistencia, because, example, an embassy has been closed. Yeah, for instance, the embassy of the Netherlands in Damascus are suspended, so it's temporarily closed. So you can see in Lebanon, for instance, or in Syria, or in Venezuela. Yeah, it is closed there. So some countries, it's that dangerous that the embassy has been suspended or even closed for a period of time. And where there's no embassy, there's no place of your own government that can help you, that can assist you, ofrecer asistencia when you need it. Yeah, embassy would be in Pavimento Embajada. Mitte Bissebong? Mitte Pensa. So when there's no embajada of our foreign department, our foreign ministry, that would be the foreign ministry of the Netherlands, because all people in Curacao are mostly are inhabitants of the Netherlands, Kingdom of the Netherlands, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and then there's no embassy in another country of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, or it's suspended, temporada, then there's no organization, no structure that can help you when you get into trouble. And that's, of course, an issue. Yeah. So when an embassy has been closed, it's less, you cannot get assistance of that country. Yeah. When an embassy has been closed, you cannot get assistance of the Kingdom of the Netherlands or the Republic of Venezuela or the United States when you are a citizen of that country, but you get into problems in another country. And normally the embassy, embajada, te ofrece asistencia. Yeah, but for instance in Damascus in Syria, it's suspended. And when you are in Syria, they cannot help you in that case. Yeah, but in Curacao, there's for instance also a consulado. That's like a minimum sized embassy. They can help you in Curacao when you get into problem. Yeah. Well, I hope that was helpful, and you learned now when you what are the most important issues in the Caribbean where the tourist industry has to adapt to, like natural disasters or an economic crisis or changing economic circumstances in the tourist industry, like eco industry, that has to be good priced very competitively. And we talked also about the role of embassies and travel restrictions and visa restrictions and travel advices abroad and the importance of embassies when you travel to another country. I hope this was helpful. The learning outcomes of this paragraph was outline global factors that affect the tourist industry in the region. So please look at those when you go prepare the big test during the exam week of this year. Before you study this paragraph, please look at the learning outcome so you know what is important and why you actually have to study this. When you want to subscribe, please ring the bell below. When you have a question, also type the question below. And I hope you found this video very helpful. I hope to see you. I hope to welcome you during my lessons. And for now, a very well-meant goodbye to you all.